All right, ready to start?
Am I doing an intro or are you doing the intro?
I think you should try it. I mean, I don't want to be the one bogarting the intro every time.
Mm. All
I
right.
was just doing it, just do it, but you should jump in.
All right. I'll count it off then.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hey, podcast universe. It's Eric. Sorry, it's Anthony with JD.
You want to start over?
Sure.
Oh God. Here we go.
Let's try that again.
Take 2.
Count it off. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody in the podcast world. This is Anthony with JD, the co-host / host / okay,
awesome
direct
/ awesome
/ awesome. We got a pretty interesting episode with today. We kind of stray a little the two topics about gaming. One strays a little out of the gaming universe, but it's still in the entertainment industry, so that's exciting. No military stuff this time around. I don't think that either of us really saw anything that wasn't completely depressing happening in the military news to talk about.
Yeah,
so.
that's kind of the problem. Like all the military news right now is kind of getting bogged down by all the crap that's going on in the world. So.
Yeah, and we're trying not to get too wrapped up because I think the last thing everybody wants to think about is what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, exactly. I did want to talk about real quick in the intro, not like a big thing to talk about, but Google Stadia is free right now. If anybody's interested in that, it's going to be free for the pro version is going to be free for 2 months. And if you don't know what Google Stadia is, it's kind of like GeForce Now and a couple of other programs. It's cloud-based video game streaming. So you don't need a very good computer. You don't need all you really need is a good internet connection, and you don't have any big downloads, and you just kind of play these games through Google's cloud system. And the pro version, which is the one that's free for 2 months, also comes with like 9 free games. So you don't even have to pay for the games that are on the system.
I was going to ask about that. Well, what?
Yeah, and I mean, there's only 9 games, so it's not like it's a huge thing, but it does include some big ones like Destiny 2 and Grid, and then some other ones in there. So, if somebody wants some games to play and they don't really have the money and they don't really have a PC, it's a good way to go. And then there's, it normally costs like $10 a month, and they're giving it 2 months free. So you're saving $20 and you get to play some games.
Which
So
actually,
I
that's
just thought
a
I'd
good
mention
thing. I know a lot of people are knocking the Google whole program and stuff and like trying to trash talk
it's
it.
terrible.
I mean,
like in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty crappy program, but it's free, so it's pretty awesome.
Free is free.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I just bought myself a purple mattress, get 100 nights of sleep, and if I don't like it within those 100 nights, I get my money back. So that I might get 100 nights worth of sleep out of a mattress. So we'll see.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah, that's cool that those mattresses do that. 100 night trial is pretty nice. That's plenty of time to figure out if it works for you.
Definitely. So I'm gonna do it longer, but the purple's just who we decided to go with. So
sure. Yeah. So yeah, if you do the Stadia thing, they it's like a subscription when you sign up, so they will start charging you. So you got to cancel it before they charge you if you don't want to pay for it. Just so everybody knows.
You can do what I usually do.
They do have games. They have like big games. They have like Red Dead Redemption 2 on there and stuff like that. So there's big stuff on there if you want to play them. But you got you got to pay for some of that. Anyway, never mind. I didn't want to go into big detail about that. Just free games are free is fun to talk about.
A little pro tip about when you're signing up for these free little subscription things. Use a soon to expire or a pretty much expired credit card or something that has no funds. So that way, if you forget to renew, you're not being charged as soon as it renews.
Yeah,
it's a little shady, but I've done it a few times. Not gonna say why or how, but I did.
So. And usually there's no penalty for signing up and then canceling, so you can just sign up and just cancel right away, and you still get your 2 months. So
yeah,
there's definitely ways around that to avoid being charged because that's what they want. They want you to sign up and then forget about it, and then that way they get your money every month. Don't be that person.
That's happened to me a lot of times too.
Yeah, me too. And I'm pretty sure that's why they continue to do all these subscription things for idiots like us.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it about Stadia.
Yeah. Yeah, let's jump into the topics. Our topics of choice. Today, well, first we're going to talk about the Valorant beta. If you've been listening to the episodes, you know that we've talked quite a bit about Valorant. It was in our first episode,
We're
and we've been
excited
watching
about it.
it develop. Yeah, it's an exciting game. It's going to be really big in esports and competitive shooters, and it kind of just proved that by setting some records on Twitch. The Valorant beta, like, it's not even a fully released game yet, and in fact, until the 7th, it wasn't even in beta. The beta wasn't even open to
Mm-mm.
be played yet, but it was still setting records on Twitch. Uh, Not only in number of hours watched in a single day, 34 million hours of Valorant were watched in a single day, but also a new mark for 1.7 million concurrent viewers. Those are
Yeah.
crazy big numbers.
You
That's
got
a
to think
lot of
about it.
people.
And it kind of gives a testament to Riot because I'm actually looking at, and mine's the Verge. I don't know what article you're looking at, but I'm looking at the Verge. Reuters. I think I Reuters on the other one. Because I pulled up two articles, but they say 1.7 million viewers on one day of streaming is only second to Riot's other game, League of Legends, the World Championship. So
Yeah, and
that
that's
shows.
a world championship, and that's the 2019 world championship, which means League of Legends had been out for a long time before it hit that mark. And Valorant's doing it, and it's not even released yet.
No,
It's crazy.
and JD, you were talking about how because I made a joke about big streamers like Dr. Disrespect. I just watched a clip of him playing, and I made a joke about that's called paid sponsorship, and you said no, they released a statement saying they haven't paid anybody. I mean, obviously they gave special incentives to these streamers to do this, but
well, let's break this down because I did want to talk about this, and
yeah.
it's interesting. This is okay. So this is really interesting the way they did this. First of all, their beta doesn't have any keys. Right?
Mm-mm.
Most betas, when they're released, you like send it an email and they send out waves of keys as they want more people to come in. Valorant didn't do that. They did not pay any streamers. They haven't paid any of the big streamers, even though almost all of them are playing it, like Summit and Dr.
Mm-mm.
Disrespect and Tim the Tatman. I don't know if Ninja plays it because he's on Mixer. I don't know. But
That's
tons
true.
of huge streamers are definitely playing Valorant. And like when I was looking at my Twitch list, like my follow list, half of them were on Valorant. So, so the thing that's cool about this is how they went about getting all of these guys involved. For one thing, they invited a lot of these streamers to a private play event, and I think they flew them all out and down there, or maybe they did it online. I'm not sure, but they invited them all in. They all played games for a weekend, and these guys couldn't even stream during that time, so they had to give up revenue to go play this game, which is kind of crazy. But then they have all this recorded gameplay and they put it on Twitch for everybody to watch. So they're getting special treatment by flying them out like that. So it's not really paying them, but it definitely cost Riot some money. Um,
Yeah.
but then, but then they set it up so that the only way to get into the beta is to watch the same people that they just gave privilege to. So they're basically giving viewership to these streamers, which again is not paying them money, but views on Twitch
Get them
equal
money. Yeah.
right?
And we talked
So
about that in the last episode where we were telling you guys how to get your own beta code if they were going to hand
yeah,
it out. And
yeah,
it
the
was.
only way to do it is to watch the streams, and that adds up to money for them. And it's crazy because there's only I read earlier that there were 25,000 people going into the beta, but I'm super positive it's been increased since then. It might be up to 50 or
They would
100,000.
have to.
But even so, out of 1.7 million viewers, you're only going to get 100,000 beta entries to that beta, which is so. So all these people are watching. There's a very low chance they're getting in. They're all sitting on these streams, giving these guys view time and maybe doing donations, maybe subscribing because Twitch Prime is free. So maybe they log in and use their Twitch Prime. And they didn't pay a single streamer a single dime, and they ended up setting Twitch records. Like, that's crazy to me, and it shows what other games are gonna do in the future. Anybody could do that. It's not just because it's Riot that they can do this, right? Anybody could invite a few big streamers, give them some access, and then put it out there that you have to watch that stream to get keys and then boost viewership that way. So, because yeah, like you said, paid sponsorship is kind of the norm. Like, you pay somebody to
Yeah.
play your game. There's there's like a Twitch bulletin board for streamers where game developers for like indie games and stuff can put up a sponsorship ad and say like, if you play this game for an hour, we'll give you
yeah,
ad money based on a certain thing, right? So there's all kinds of stuff like that to pay streamers to play games. Riot didn't have to pay any of them, and is setting records.
Well, I mean,
So
it
that's
sounds like
very
they
interesting.
really didn't need to. Like you said, they were getting they get money off now that even affiliates in Twitch are getting ad revenue. I mean, I got
Yeah.
like a whole 19 cents last pay period, but
Good job, buddy.
I know. I'm so
19
excited.
cents.
The whole total 19 cents. Granted, I don't stream as much as most people do. But like I'm looking at this and like you said, they get at least ad revenue. People are going to probably give bits or don't use their donation links or subscribe with the free Amazon Prime subscription, because some of the streamers offer like incentives if you subscribe to them. Not only just like, yeah, I know they got emotes and sub badges and all that, but some of the big streamers offer other things if you sub to them. So that probably got them money that way. And then I was reading this article, they're listing some of the big streamers. They were talking about Summit 1G. I've never heard of him. Jared is his name.
Yeah, Summit's huge. Yeah,
I've never
one
heard
of the biggest streamers ever. Well, I think he's like a Counter-Strike player. So that's probably why you
that's probably why. That's probably why they gave him the beta. They said his stream topped more than 200,000 viewers at one point. So
yeah, that's the stream I was watching all day. I wasn't even here. I just had my stream on Summit all day long today, hoping to get a beta entry. For the record, I did not.
They also had like the other streamers they had. Yeah. I haven't been able to watch any streamers because unfortunately I don't work at home, so I have to be at work, and then when I'm home I'm doing house stuff, and my wife. By the way, I had someone get mad at me because I keep
doing your wife. Way to put that on the podcast.
That's not buddy. What I said, but thank you.
That is what you said. You said I'm doing house stuff and my wife.
If I continued, you would have heard what I said, but I stopped myself because I had to. I'm not. I can neither confirm or deny that right now.
Oh Lord.
As I was saying,
we're about to go into the After Dark podcast.
Yeah, we are. I'm hanging out with my wife more because she still works 5 days of the week, and I work on and off throughout the week because they're trying to limit our chances of the section getting contaminated. But anyway, what I was going to say that made me stop mid thought was I had someone get mad at me because I referred to her as my wife. They're like, she has a name. And I was like, I know that, but I don't like referring to her name in some instances because it's not anybody's business what her name is. But anyway, they were trying to give me advice on how to make sure my marriage lasts by not referring to my wife as the wife or my wife. But anyway.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Let's just go back to how you talked about doing your wife on the podcast.
No, let's not go back to how I talk about doing my wife on the podcast.
That's good. Clap for the audio podcast. Thank you.
It's for this bug I just killed that flew right in front.
I don't need to see the bug. Thank you.
Well, you're accusing me of all kinds of things on the podcast tonight, so I gotta clear myself. I'm gonna drink more. But I was gonna say, so JD's been watching a lot of streamers, and I've been asking him while I was at work and stuff if he's gotten a code yet, and as of right now, as of 8:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 8 April, he has not received a code yet, or an invitation, because they're not giving out codes. But the other big streamers they've been talking about is pretty many of the biggest shooter players on the platform, including likes of Jared, Summit 1G, Lazar. That's the one that topped 200,000 views, the one JD was watching for his for the most of the time. Tim the Tap Man. I've never heard of.
Man.
Yeah, Tim
you haven't heard of these guys? These guys are huge. These guys are like the millionaires of Twitch.
I've heard of Felix, but I didn't know his Twitch name was XQC. I've heard of Pokimane. Most of it's negative, but I've heard of Pokimane. And obviously everybody knows Dr. Disrespect. So those are some of the big streamers they asked to stream their game.
Dr. Disrespect's not even as big as those other guys. So I think it's crazy you haven't heard of them.
It's kind of weird. I've Okay, the honest reason why I've heard of Felix, Pokimane, and Dr. Disrespect is because the YouTubers I watch that cover Twitch news, and those guys are usually in the news for one reason or another. Not always good reasons, but they're in the news.
Yeah.
One reason or another.
Yeah, that's true. They're a little more dramatic.
Yeah. Yeah, see, this is disappointing. This bothers me about this article. Maybe we're alone with thinking this, but in my The Verge article, they talk about Valorant, which blends elements of Overwatch and Counter-Strike, but Mindkiller and I feel it blends elements, at least Shadowrun in there somehow, and not.
Yeah, I think Overwatch is a cop out. I think that's somebody who doesn't really understand video games, because like on the surface, it looks like it's blending Overwatch and Counter-Strike, but it's really, really not. Like,
no,
the abilities and the way they're used in Valorant are nothing like what you would use in Overwatch. It's just not the same.
I mean, Overwatch is mainly abilities based. It's like no weapon play at it, or really, and even then, it's not even kill oriented at all, because you get credit for kills you really don't kill just because you did just 1 point of damage.
Overwatch has its abilities and its guns, but I would say Overwatch is closer to Call of Duty than it is to Valorant, because it's more run and gun. It's more,
fast paced.
It's a lot more fast paced. It's a lot more high octane. And Valorant is not. Valorant is corner camping and peeking around edges and manipulating positions,
which is
like
the Counter-Strike aspect of it, and the way if you guys saw our first episode, we referred to Shadowrun like it was more spell based than weapons based, and then the spells were like rock paper scissors to each other, because like humans can do one thing, are more suitable for one thing, elves were suitable for magic, and so. But
they have had stuff like that in Valorant. I've seen it a couple times. The abilities, not directly. It's not like one immediately counters another, but there's definitely counterplay with different abilities and different strategies and stuff.
And so Overwatch has that aspect to it, but it's like you can pick almost any hero to counter another hero, whereas Shadowrun was the specific races work specific counters to each other.
Yeah, and definitely Valorant's not like Shadowrun in that respect. Like, it's definitely not that ability based. In fact, I've seen a lot of games where they barely even use their abilities. They were just using guns, because it's definitely more oriented towards Counter-Strike. But I don't agree with the Overwatch comparison. I don't think that works.
I know. I think
there's way too many class-based, ability-based shooters out there to be comparing it to Overwatch.
And I think it might not be Riot's fault. It might be just the gaming journalism's fault. But they might be trying to capitalize on the popularity of Overwatch to kind of draw people into Valorant. So
yeah, they're putting the name Overwatch in there so that when people search for Overwatch, Valorant comes up. That's what's going on. Really.
Same thing with Counter-Strike. I mean, Counter-Strike's been big for how long now? And if you can tie something to Counter-Strike, you're going to constantly have people looking for it. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for the Valorant thing. It's cool that it set records and it's doing it before it's even released as a full game. So definitely a game to keep an eye on. Even if you don't like that kind of game, like the gameplay doesn't suit you, it's probably a game to follow, because it's going to be huge. Kind of like League of Legends. Like, I've never played League of Legends, but I know about it. I know what it is. I know what's in it, because I'm a gamer and I like games.
Yeah, any gamer, and even if more specifically any MOBA fan, is gonna get into something like League of Legends. So
yeah,
because whether it's crap, I forgot what Blizzard's was. Storm.
Heroes of the Storm,
or Smite, or League of Legends. If you're into that stuff, you're gonna be drawn into this. So, can I intro the next one with the ESPN stuff, or not ESPN, the iRacing? I just want to, I mainly want to do this because I'm getting a kick out of this. I really actually feel bad for ESPN, because they're very limited now on what they can do. But I think it's funny. I mentioned this to Mindkiller, or JD, we have a group chat that we talk to our friends that we've been together since we've been in the military. We in the first episode, you kind of got a brief background on that, but same guys we refer to about playing games together all the time since Japan and all that. I got a kick out of it. ESPN was even talking about doing Rocket League tournaments on their channel, and now ESPN is even reporting on the next story we're talking about, which is the NASCAR iRacing. We mentioned that before, second episode or third episode. It was one of the episodes.
It was one of those.
Yeah. And I got a kick out of this when I was looking up articles to read about this. ESPN is reporting on this story that we're about to talk about, because obviously it involves a real life athlete, depending on your view on race car drivers and if they're actually athletes or not. So ESPN picked up on it, and Bubba Wallace, who's supposedly a up and coming racer, I don't know if he's related to Rusty Wallace, and there's another Wallace that I used to watch when I actually paid attention to NASCAR, so I don't know if he's related to them or not. He rage quit during the last iRace on Twitch and all the networks that were viewing or airing it at the time. And
I think it's funny we call it rage quit, because I mean that's a gamer thing, and I know they were playing a game, but I know the articles are actually calling it rage quit, but that's like mixing our terminology with real sports, right? It's weird to call it a rage quit to me. It just sounds weird, but that's literally what he did for real.
Well, that's the funny thing you say that, because like every article that I read from news sites that don't normally report on video games, they specifically say rage quit in quotations. It says, which is a gamer's term. So they're actually pointing out that people are giving him a hard time for rage quitting. But we get a kick out of it, because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've rage quit. Our friend Ungodly's rage quit more times than we can probably count at this point, but we've all experienced, all us gamers experience rage quitting so one way or another in our lives. And now there's this professional NASCAR driver who gets paid millions of dollars to drive a car around in circles, and now is reduced to doing it online. Apparently he thinks it's beneath him. I'll let JD talk about what his comments were about why he quit the racing, but I don't know if you saw what his exact tweet was about.
Yeah, I saw what he said.
Yeah, so apparently he feels this is beneath him, so he threw a huge fit, and now we refer to it as rage quitting. Everybody else that doesn't game just calls it he quit halfway through the race. Right. It wasn't even halfway through. It was 11 laps into a 150 lap race. So he barely made it.
Yeah, it was really, he barely even started. Yeah. You could tell that this guy was like forced into doing this. Like, you got to do this, man. Everybody else is doing it. You got to get in there. He's like, fine, I'll do it. And then he hated it. He got really mad. So, yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I love his comment. What did he say? He's like, after he quit, he went on Twitter and was talking about it a little bit. Funny enough, did we talk about Blue Emo? Did we talk about? We haven't gotten that far yet.
No, but before you get into his tweet, I was going to say his exact comment on stream is, that's it. That's why I don't take this shit seriously. Peace out. And he just quit.
And then he just left. And it wasn't even like a rage quit.
No, he just says
the way that we know rage quits. Like, if you're a gamer and you rage quit, you know, you risk throwing a controller through a wall. He just kind of like backed off and like, all right, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't take this seriously.
It was more like he was just fed up of even doing it. Yeah. And we talked about this actually on the first time we talked about the NASCAR races, how because of the respawns and because of the fact that it's virtual, they aren't taking it as seriously, and so there's a lot more accidents and stuff, right? We talked about that.
They're far more aggressive than they normally would.
Yeah, it's being a lot more aggressive. Yeah, and so the other driver, Clint Boyer, was being aggressive in that way, and Wallace didn't like that, because in a real race he wouldn't have done that. And so
he would have
Wallace
been
was
less
getting
aggressive.
frustrated. Yeah. So Wallace was getting frustrated by him sideswiping him, and that's why he rage quit. And then he said this stuff, you know, about not taking it seriously. And then on Twitter, he just said, I ruined so many people's day by quitting a video game. Man, quarantine life is rough. And then after tweeting that, one of his sponsors replied, good to know where you stand. Bye-bye, Bubba. We're interested in drivers, not quitters. And they pulled his real-life sponsorship as a NASCAR driver. So he just lost, I don't know. I read somewhere that it was a small sponsorship, like it wasn't a huge amount of money, but he lost money rage quitting a virtual drive, which is just hilarious. It's so funny.
my first thought about the sponsorship too, because I was like, well, I know who Blue Emu is. I've seen their commercials before, and I was like, okay, he lost a small sponsorship, but the article I was reading, I can't remember if it was the ESPN's or Fox's, because Fox even reported on it, which makes sense because Fox does racing. They talked about how Blue Emu is actually working to be an official sponsor of NASCAR, which if I remember correctly, in racing, that's actually a pretty big deal for a company to end up being an official sponsor of NASCAR. It means you're pumping some serious money into the sport. So he just lost. Maybe they started off as a small sponsorship, but he lost a potentially big sponsor in the long run because he threw this fit online.
Yeah.
Like JD said, it's rage quitting, and our definition of rage quitting, it really wasn't rage quitting. I watched the clip. It was very mild on how I've actually seen people rage quit, and even myself rage quit. There was a period when I was in Japan gaming with JD and our other friends that I may have gone through a controller once a week because I rage quit.
Yeah.
So their definition of rage quitting isn't really what I
definitely had a box of Xbox One corpse controllers, like dead ones that don't work anymore.
Yeah. It was the original Xbox then, because the 360 came out while we were still in Japan, so we started off with the X.
So one of the things in this article that's interesting is apparently Wallace has a tendency to get angry.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too.
Yeah, it said actually during the Daytona 500, the real race, that Wallace was angry and was burning rubber in the paddock, and had to retire early. So he was pretty upset about that. So apparently he just has a bit of a temper problem.
He almost hit his own rider when he did that, by the way.
Yeah. So, maybe that guy, maybe it's a bigger problem for him than just one race.
Might have been just a light for Blue Email to realize they may need to move on to a better driver and one that doesn't get as angry. Sometimes NASCAR actually makes money off these drama queen drivers, though. There's been
usually you like those guys once in a while.
Yeah, because admittedly, not many people like watching cars going around in circles. So if you can get some drama queens, you get some drama queens in there, it excites it a little bit. I mean, like Dale Earnhardt Jr. actually is not as good as a driver, or at least he wasn't. I haven't seen him in a while. Maybe he's improved, but he was not as good as a driver as his dad, the Intimidator. But the reason why everybody liked him, not only because he shared the same name as his dad, he was incredibly aggressive and always took people out, which is a thing his dad did, which has got his dad the nickname the Intimidator. So that made NASCAR money because, I mean, he's an Earnhardt and he's supposedly as aggressive as his dad. And then we had Tony Stewart that threw tempers all the time, Ryan Newman. So it's not uncommon for NASCAR drivers to have these drama queens that just throw fits every time something happens.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's obviously it made headlines and it got reported by ESPN, so pretty fancy stuff for Bubba Wallace there.
I think what hurt him in the long run, something like this flies in NASCAR because they usually penalize the drivers for acting out, then that's about as far as that goes. I think that what got him is because he insulted a new fan base that's starting to watch the race, is these gamers.
Yeah,
and say like it's just a video game. And everybody's upset because they quit. Well, that's not really good look if you're looking to hit a new market. And that's exactly what NASCAR's trying to do right now. So,
yeah, exactly. He needs to look at the big picture. Like this is big for NASCAR because even after they all go back to real races, they can keep doing this too. He needs to realize that. Like this is a whole new aspect for NASCAR that they didn't have before. Yeah,
NASCAR's always been big, but I'm sure it's been dying over the years. And this is their chance to breathe new life into it. Another thing that didn't help him, he's driving the Richard Petty number 43. Richard Petty was one of the original drivers of NASCAR, and so he's got that legacy behind him. And he just threw this big. Well, again, in the terms of rage quitting, it wasn't that big, but it was a temper tantrum to say the least.
Yeah. I guess it was pretty important for sure. Yeah. In the fact that the cameras were on him, and it's not like there's 500 drivers to be looking at. There's only a few of them, so
you pick the one you want to watch, and that you're stuck with them for the entire race. So,
So if you're wondering about that race, which was April 5th, it looks like,
Less than
William Byron won the race. If anybody cares about William Byron or the people that were racing.
I've been so out of it. I don't even know who William Byron is. But from my understanding,
apparently Byron was like, apparently for all the previous iRacing events, he was like in the top 5 or so for pretty much most of the time.
Got his first win.
Now managed to win. Yeah.
The one quick thing I know JD and I are gonna probably move on to the next topic, but the one quick thing again to kind of like highlight the fact that esports is growing. NBA is getting into it. NFL's talking about getting into it. The ESPN's talking about airing Rocket League tournaments. Now they're also talking about F1 racers, which is huge worldwide, especially in the European theater. F1 racers are talking about doing the same thing as NASCAR now. So this is becoming a new thing, and I would anticipate a lot more sports getting involved, especially if this the COVID actually starts going into other seasons. Other sports are going to be reduced to having, or depending how you look at it, having to look into other options to continue their airing of their events. So
yeah,
but yeah.
All right. Next topic.
Yes.
Is Disney. We're going to talk about. Oh, you know what? I wanted to mention we were talking about ESPN and how kind of sad ESPN is now. I did read somewhere that based on the same time last year, their ratings have dropped almost 50%,
which is not their fault.
Crazy. Yeah, and it's not their fault. Yeah, there's just no live sports to watch and stuff. So that's pretty crazy. Anyway. All right.
I did hear that one of my coworkers, she's a diehard sports fan, mainly football and basketball, but she loves everything Georgia. But she said she did enjoy the fact now she's seeing a lot of old classic games being aired on ESPN. But that you can only do that for so long before it gets boring.
And there are actually a lot of ways to do that. I've actually been writing a little bit about that because it's not just on ESPN, but like their app ESPN Plus, and NFL on YouTube has started throwing out like old NFL games, just the complete games from start to finish. So yeah, if you want to watch like old Super Bowls and stuff like that, you definitely can. They're free to watch in a lot of places. So, so the next topic is Disney. We know. So Mulan was the live action Disney movie that was supposed to come out here soon. I forget when, but pretty soon. Oh, it's supposed to be in March. And then Black Widow was the big Marvel movie. The next kind of, we're starting to move into phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe since the Avengers movies are done. And the Black Widow was supposed to be kicking that off. And that was supposed to come out in May. And we know back in March that they kind of said, nope, we're not releasing either one of those. And people thought that they were going to go the way of releasing them straight to streaming services because that's what they did with some other movies like Frozen 2. They pushed things to the streaming service. But
Onward, which is their newest one, went straight to streaming.
Yeah, Onward. Yeah, exactly. But Black Widow, I think, is too big for that. And I think they're expecting a lot from Mulan, too. So neither one of them were released. And until recently, neither one of them had a release date. But now we know exactly what they're doing. Disney came out and said that they are going to push back Marvel Cinematic Universe's Phase 2. If you guys remember, and maybe you just don't even know, but if you remember when Endgame was over, everybody was kind of wondering what was next for Marvel because, it had reached a conclusion at that point. And so they released this big calendar that had the next 3 years planned out with movies and TV shows and stuff like that. So basically, all they did was move that entire calendar back like 6 months or whatever. So now Black Widow is now coming out when the next movie, The Eternals, was supposed to come out, which is in November.
No, I thought Eternals was supposed to be a TV show. No, you're right.
No, Eternals is a movie.
Yeah.
It's going to be I'm going to be very surprised if The Eternals is successful at all. I think it's going to be really complicated, and people aren't going to understand it.
If I'm 100% honest right now,
and nobody knows what the Eternals are.
No, they really don't. If anything, looking at this lineup, if anything past Black Widow and maybe Doctor Strange gets successful after this, I'll be surprised because, in my opinion, I think the next lineup for as far as movies go, Black Widow is the last thing I was actually really excited for. I was interested in Doctor Strange because I get a man crush on Benedict Cumberbatch, but other than that, there's There was no
Well, the
reason for
TV
me.
shows are going to be cool, I think.
Yeah, the
Like
TV shows.
WandaVision and Loki and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Those are very interesting to me.
Yeah.
I really want to see
Yeah.
how they do those.
Those
But yeah, the
might do well.
movies.
The movies are going to struggle, I think.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're pushing the Eternals back. They're bringing out Black Widow in November, and then the Eternals goes to the next spot. Whoever was supposed to be after that, which I think is, what is that one at the bottom there? Shang-Chi. I don't know what that is.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, May 7th, 2021.
So that'll probably be when the Eternals come out, and then they'll just keep moving them back.
Unless I'm reading this wrong, the article I got on CNET says February 12th for the Eternals. I don't know if that was the original release date or if that's the new release date.
That's going to be the new release date, probably.
Okay.
Because it was supposed to be in November. It was supposed to be that Black Widow and the Eternals were the two, because they do two movies a year. They do two movies each year. And so Black Widow and the Eternals were supposed to be 2020. And then Shang-Chi and Doctor Strange were supposed to be 2021. So now Doctor Strange probably won't even be out till 2022.
They got it as November 5th, 2021. And Captain Marvel 2 is supposed to be 2022, according to CNET.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but all that's gonna change. Like, who knows how long the COVID thing is gonna last? Like, it might all get delayed again if things aren't ready. So
honestly, one of the big factors that Mulan got pushed back is Disney was really relying heavily on the Chinese market, but China obviously got hit by COVID long before we did, and that's going to hurt Disney in the long run for that, because they shut down theaters for a while now. I think I heard they're opening them back up, and now they're shutting them down again because there's a new resurgence or something.
Yeah, that's what happened. A lot of those countries did, like Taiwan and Hong Kong, and I think even like Malaysia and stuff like that. They all closed down, and then they opened back up, and then they're like, "Oh crap, close it again."
Open the gate. Close the gate again. Close the gate.
So yeah, and Mulan got pushed back to July and displaced a different movie called Jungle Cruise that I'd never even heard of.
Yeah, I didn't
that has
know
The
about
Rock.
that one. It
has The Rock in it. I've never even heard of it, but I'm sure Disney paid him a lot of money for that terrible movie. So it's just kind of crazy to see everything getting pushed back. Some of these movies we're not going to see for another couple of years now.
I even talk about one movie we won't even see in theater. I've never heard of this one, Artemis Fowl, which is a sci-fi fantasy. Is going to skip the theater completely. So
and Artemis Fowl is interesting. I looked that up when I read that, because I looked up what Artemis Fowl was, and I guess it's a Irish novel. And the guy is like a anti-hero kind of character, and he's kind of a bad guy at first, and then he kind of loosens up over time. Yeah, something like that. So I don't know. Apparently it's not the first time they've tried either. Like, I guess they've tried to make movies out of it before, and they always got canceled or released to direct to DVD or something like that. So I guess that movie is just cursed to never get into theaters, apparently. So, oh well, Artemis Fowl fans. Oh well, the three of you.
It was supposed to be out on May 29th of this year too, so that's not happening.
Yeah,
it's probably gonna go straight to the Disney Plus service.
Yeah. There's
Pixar had another movie coming out called Soul that was supposed to be for June 20, but they said they haven't announced anything adjusting it. But they're predicting that June 20 is not going to happen.
Black Panther. Soul. I saw a trailer for that. That looks interesting.
It does look.
That looks really good. It's from the people that did Inside Out, right? Or what? Is that what it is?
I think so.
It's the one where it's like in the brain. And they were like little. Okay, yeah. So that should be really good. That'll suck if that gets delayed. I'd like to see that.
And then, they also talk about Black Panther. It is set to debut May 6, 2022. Captain Marvel 2 has been set for July 8, 2022. So Captain Marvel, which is supposed to be the new Captain America for the new phase of Marvel, is not going to happen for another 2 years. When I think it was supposed to be next year, but now we got Shang-Chi, and then we got Doctor Strange. And then the Thor. It looks like
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah,
man, I was looking forward to that one too. That one's getting bumped all the way to 2022. Man, we could all be dead by then. We're never gonna get to see Thor: Love and Thunder. So
Is that gonna be the first one with Natalie Portman as Thor?
I think it's the first one with the female Thor. That's why it's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
It makes me wonder what they're gonna do with Valkyrie, because I know he handed off his hammer to Valkyrie. He handed off Stormbreaker to Valkyrie when he left after Endgame.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think she's getting her own kind of look at her as a character too. So,
well,
should be interesting.
Yeah, because
sure.
They were talking about Gwyneth Paltrow being the new Iron Man, taking over after Tony Stark died.
I hope not. I do not like that woman or any of the things that she talks about.
So you won't be frequenting Goop anytime soon to get her vagina scented candles?
No, I won't. Yeah, surprisingly, I'm not going to be doing that.
But that's Disney. Disney is actually taking a huge hit from all this. I may or may not have bought stocks into Disney, and I bought it at $160 or $120. It's down below $100 right now a share. So they're not doing so well. They had to close their theme parks. Their movies are getting pushed back. Things are getting canceled.
That's true. I bet all the Disney parks are closed.
California will not let Disneyland open up, and Disney World finally shut down, I think. China, I guess there's a Disney World in China too. I didn't know that. I knew there was one in Japan. That's shut down. Japan's had to shut down. Yeah, so Disney's getting hit pretty hard during all this.
That's crazy.
They're desperately they're gonna have to start, I think, investing in their Disney Plus platform for a while until this settles down.
Yeah, well, in which they've definitely, like, they put Onward on there. And Frozen 2 was a big success, and that when that came out on the streaming platform, and that got them a lot of attention because a lot of people talked about how it was on there for your kids to watch while they were home with the pandemic stuff going on. So, honestly, I mean, they probably really lucked out because that just came out last year, right? Disney Plus.
Yeah, so it was.
They probably really lucked out bringing that out when they did. It's probably been a good source of revenue for them. But I mean, it's nothing compared to Disney World.
No,
like a fraction of what that brings in. So
they're gonna have to find other ways to pull stuff in. I mean, I did see Frozen 2 because I went with my wife and her sister, because her sister really wanted to see it. And honestly, my favorite part of the whole movie is Panic at the Disco singing "Into the Unknown" in the commercials, because he did better than Elsa. I can't remember the name of the actress that played Elsa, but he destroyed that song. So
fun.
Yeah, a little tidbit about my life.
Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so that's crazy about Disney. It's crazy about Marvel. Kind of sucks because honestly, with all the live sports canceled and movie theaters closed, you kind of need a little release. You know, it'd be nice to be able to go see a stupid movie about superheroes messing around, but you can't. You got to stay home and wash your hands.
No, you better watch. Hey, by the way, Baby Shark has released a new song called "Wash Your Hands."
Stop.
And it's to the
Stop. I don't want to hear it. Don't tell Jean-Luc. I don't want to hear.
But it would teach your son how to wash your hands during the pandemic. So
we have a book about Baby Shark going to sleep, and the whole book is just like new lyrics for a Baby Shark song, and so I have to sing it to him. And I have to sing every book. I have to read every book 3 times. So I have to sing it 3 times. It is the worst. I hate it.
Well, that's exactly what they did with this "Wash Your Hands." It's to the tune of Baby Shark. So
yeah, you could do anything to the tune of Baby Shark. Pick your nose, do 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 do. Scratch your ass, do 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 do. Like,
I don't recommend that one for your children.
I hate it. I'm going to write an adult version.
Normally I say I ignore the chat during our podcast, but JD made a joke about us probably being dead before all these Marvel movies come out. And my brother Pyro mentioned we're already dead. We just don't know it yet. So.
It's true. We're on our way out. It's very true.
But yeah, so
all right. That's it. That's the end of the topics. Now we do our outro. You got anything fun to say for the outro?
I know everybody's extremely sad that we've come to the end. So I'm gonna I got nothing to add. I saw something actually interesting. Video game related, and it resulted was free. I don't remember. Oh, I want to thank everybody who the whole 5 of you who watched our podcasts. I don't know how many watched on the podcast platforms, but if you took part in the Humble Bundle Conquer COVID pack, last time I checked it was $5.4 million they raised for the medical supplies that they were doing. I bought the pack. I believe JD did as well. We mentioned to our friends Ungodly only is interested in multiplayer stuff, so he didn't care. But I don't know if Gilbert did buy it at all. But I want to thank everybody who did that. Like I said, it's personally it means a lot to me. My wife was actually put on quarantine this weekend because she had to admit somebody with possible COVID, and she did not have the proper PPE. So they said, like, if this person has it, you have it. So they told her to stay home and not come to work until the guy was cleared. And luckily, he came back negative. But just think, I'm not the only one. There's actually people that are in a lot worse situations than we are right now as far as this whole pandemic is going on. So every little bit helps with these medical supplies. So, and you got free games out of it. And we didn't mention this during last week's podcast, but they were doing ebooks too in that pack.
They weren't great. But there were some interesting ones. Like, did you watch The Boys on Amazon Prime?
I heard about The Boys. I didn't.
Oh, it was so good. Oh, you're stupid. Go watch it. It's so good.
You're saying this to a guy that just started watching Community, so...
Yeah, what is wrong with you? How have you... I've watched Community like 90 times, and I'm already further along on this watch than you are.
I'm at episode 6. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, they did do some graphic novels, like the first volume of The Boys was on there, and that has a TV show that's based on it now, so if you've heard of that. And there were a couple others that I recognized as... from other media properties. So
yeah.
There were some interesting ones, but the ebooks...
The video games were the big selling point for that pack, if anything.
Especially those top games, like Hollow Knight and Into the Breach and Undertale. Those are big ones. Yeah, and it was really easy, too, by the way. If anybody's listening and they're like, I don't want to do all that, they give you all the Steam codes right away, and you just copy and paste them into Steam, and boom, you've got the games. But it wasn't even that hard. I
haven't copied mine into Steam yet, but...
I did.
Unfortunately, though, I believe...
I'm a go-getter, so...
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, I think the fundraiser is over, but if Humble Bundle does something like that again, we may not do a whole segment on them like we did last time. We'll at least mention it in passing. So if you guys are interested in that.
Yeah, sure. We'll keep an eye on that stuff.
It is. And Humble Bundle is an awesome program, and as a whole, they do free games like every month. If they got a subscription service, so if you're into gaming or getting into gaming because you're bored out of your mind and locked at home, Humble Bundle is something to look into regardless. So, yeah, and it's a pay what you want service too. So you don't even have to pay. Like this one was $30. You could have paid just $5 and gotten 5 games out of it if you wanted to. You didn't have to pay the $30 to get all the games. So it is that way that you don't have to throw all your money at it, which is cool. But yeah, that's all I got for the outro. Other than the hashtag stuff, but I'll leave that to you this time. So
sure, yeah. If you want to get in touch with us, you want to talk to us about the podcast, ask us questions, or give us a topic that's worth talking about. Or send us art, like we had an artist challenge in the last episode. You can go listen to that if you want to win a free game and draw pictures of us. Use hashtag NTWP on Twitter and tag one of us, either Airconda TVT, which is his Twitter, or the Mind Killer, which is my Twitter, and those are in the description as well. Hashtag NTWP. You can tag one of us. You can reach out to us directly, and we'll respond to you or ignore you if you're a troll. But yeah, that's how you contact us and talk to us about the podcast.
What I want to actually, since you brought up the artist challenge, I kind of said if you give us a drawing of JD or you get a free game. I don't have that much money to hand out a free game to everybody that potentially submits a drawing. So let me specify: our favorite will win the free game, and the top 3 would be featured in the podcast for people to see. So just to make sure, but I'll be maybe if we see a lot of really good ones, we'll do more than 3 featured in the podcast. But we'll see how that goes if we get.
Well, we've had
submissions.
6 people listen to our podcast over the last 5 episodes. So I think you're going to be okay.
I think we're gonna be fine too.
Yeah.
Hey,
all right, that's it.
It's doing
man.
better on YouTube. So, but anyway, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's all I got. I gotta use the bathroom again.
Thanks for putting that into the end of the podcast. Wonderful. That's great way to end it.
Wash your hands, everybody. That's why that was
Yes.
segueing into washing your hands.
That's good. That's good. He's using the bathroom to wash his hands because he's a conscientious person.
I am.
Yeah, wash your hands. We'll be back next week. Keep talking about games and maybe some military stuff. Who knows? But thanks for listening, and we're out.